Welcome to another episode of Getting There and Giving Back, the show that talks to high achievers about where they are, how they got there, and the things they're doing to give back. Our guest today is a partner at Concrete Rose, which is an early investment platform where their mission is to deploy financial and social capital to build exceptional companies and close gaps for underrepresented talent. Ian Beadle, thanks for coming on.
AJ, thank you very much for having me.
We're thrilled to have you because this is what you're all about. Your whole company is about giving back, giving opportunities to people that wouldn't otherwise get them, right?
Yeah, correct. A little background. So what we're doing was really an idea that was started by my partner Sean's real lifetime focus on really addressing systemic barriers facing people of color, and thinking about how can we leverage some of the biggest avenues for wealth creation today, namely entrepreneurship and investing, and turn what's historically been a vicious cycle into a virtuous one.
And so you're helping people that have that great idea, that great business concept, but aren't getting the funding from other firms.
Yeah, it's more than that. It started with really diving into some of the statistics around where venture capital funding goes. So venture capital being startup type businesses for entrepreneurs that have an idea and want to build something out of it. So the headline statistic is roughly 3% of capital goes to Black and Latino-led businesses, despite being more than a third of the population. So not only is that alarming, and does that say there's some real problems under the surface, but you put your investor hat on and you say there's real opportunity here. I mean, there are great businesses, great founders that are just being missed by kind of the current system.
So tell me about some of the businesses that you've invested in.
Yeah, so we're in 25 different businesses. We're 15 months into what we're doing.
Wow.
Everything from consumer fintech side that's like built around financial access, financial inclusion, bringing the underbanked into the financial system, to kind of ed tech, giving access to great teachers, great curriculum in areas that maybe don't have it, as well as just boring enterprise type software businesses that you wouldn't think about, maybe wouldn't relate as an individual consumer, but are pretty impressive in their own right.
Right. And what drew you into this? Not necessarily this company or what you're doing now, but this sector. Yeah.
So I've always really wanted to be in investing. So coming out of undergrad, I didn't know what to do. I got into a Fortune 500 company and just said I'm going to learn about how things are supposed to work. And the longer I was there, I was surrounded by great people, really smart people. But I said, this isn't my passion. I would get bored. I wanted to see more, do more. And I feel like investing, you get a chance to get smart about things really quickly and just kind of move on to the next thing. So you learn a lot about a lot. And so that's why I always kind of wanted to get into investing. I landed in a private equity role after going back from my MBA. That was really interesting, really exciting. But at the end of the day, I really felt like there was something missing. I was looking to make more impact in my life. And, I felt like the world was just getting more and more divided. You were seeing kind of the rise of police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movement, just kind of a growing divide in America. And I said, I have a skill set. Maybe I can do something that is impactful, meaningful, and was really kind of searching for that outlet when I kind of came across the opportunity to be a part of what's now Concrete Rose.
Wow. Would you say you always wanted to be an investor? Most kids want to be a baseball player, an astronaut. I mean, at what point did you say, you know what, that's the dream?
I always thought like venture capital specifically was really interesting. Probably like high school when I started learning what that meant. My dad took the big risk of starting a business and being an entrepreneur when he was, in his early 40s with a couple of young kids at home. And so I kind of saw it from that side. But venture capital seemed almost like an unattainable career. I don't know why. So it's not something I got into right away, but in the back of my mind, it was always something really interesting. I think in venture, what's so great is you're kind of always on the leading edge of technology. You kind
Yeah.
of see what's coming, and I feel like that's been really interesting, and it kind of forces you to stay current, which is really really hard, but keeps you on your toes, I guess.
Are there any sweeping changes coming soon that you can be the first to tell us about?
Maybe some of the more interesting stuff is what you're seeing around like predictive health and precision health. I think that's a really interesting trend, and seeing how we use tech to do that. And I mean, that's we've been seeing that for years now. Like the Fitbit started that, right? Like just being
Sure.
able to quantify your own health, and it continues to evolve. And I think we're seeing that further and further along. And you're seeing that play out like with vaccines today and things like that. Just kind of the advances made on that side.
Wow. Yeah. Even your Apple Watch can do an EKG now, and I'm sure this is the
Right?
very beginning of all of that, right?
Yeah.
So, how do these entrepreneurs find you?
Well, a lot of avenues. So, in terms of how we source opportunities, the first area is we just are trying to build a big network. There are a lot of people out there like me that say there's a lot of things going on in this world, and I can help in some way. And so we're just trying to be a home for those people. And they're doing a lot of different things. So, you know, they do source opportunities for us, which is great. But they also add just a ton of value for companies that do join. One of the biggest barriers to success in entrepreneurship is social capital. And so we try to be that bridge, and whether that's mentorship, whether it's just like advice on a product, or most commonly just closing network gaps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been the secret sauce of Silicon Valley for all these years, is just the connectivity. And if you're an outsider, that's really hard. So that was kind of the primary source of how we thought we could add value, and that's also been a great source of finding entrepreneurs. We do some other things. We have a network of ambassadors, people that in communities across the country that are have their ear to the ground, are looking for talented founders that are maybe just outside of the traditional ecosystem that is venture capital, and just making introductions there, and then just through personal networks. We do get cold inbound on the website as well. I mean, we'll take it from any avenue. We just want to meet great people and invest in great businesses.
You put that social capital part right in your mission statement. In other words, you see that gap being as important as the inability to get the funding, as big of a problem as the inability to have those connections.
Yeah, I think I do. I just feel like that's going to increase the likelihood of success exponentially. In so many ways, it's who just being able to get in front of the right customer, have there's this growing commentary around the concept of warm intros in Silicon Valley, and like that's can be seen as a negative, right? Because it's who you know, but we're trying to look at that the other way around and say we know a lot of people that know a lot of people, and maybe we can bridge that gap.
That's got to be incredibly rewarding when those connections get made and you see these people move forward with, their dreams. Yeah.
I think the most exciting thing that's happened in the 15 months we've been doing this is just kind of seeing the network effects take place, and seeing the value we've created for people that just wouldn't have had access there.
Wow. So what's the Concrete Rose Foundation all about?
Sure. So, in the model we mentioned, I mentioned the term kind of virtuous cycle. So we're investing in companies, we're trying to help them succeed, but we're also kind of doubling down on what we're doing. So we as a fund are pledging half of our profits to this nonprofit foundation that we've started. So as we invest in an underrepresented founder that has breakout success, their success is going to continue to drive change in underrepresented communities. So that foundation is a grant-making organization. We think it's a somewhat novel approach. It's that pledge that we're making is not a one-time thing. That is year after year after year of our fund. The more successful we are, the more impact we're going to make. It's not a quick fix. It's not a temporary solution. And we're giving unrestricted funding to a lot of these organizations. So it's not tied to a specific program. They can use it in the way they need to. And we're initially targeting great organizations that are tackling problems around education and employment in underrepresented communities. So organizations like Digital Nest, which is a newer organization that is focused on bridging the digital divide, which, as you can imagine, kind of post-COVID is exponentially more important. Organizations like Color Stack, which is focused on increasing entrance and retention and success of Black and Latino students in technical careers, specifically focused on computer science and undergraduate programs. And then organizations like Harlem Children's Zone, which is really like cradle to career support, that their approach has grown block by block in Harlem. It's just a really concentrated approach. So we're in 17 organizations today, and we take more of a venture philanthropy approach. So we're looking for great organizations that, with a little bit more capital, can do even more great work.
Well, that would be a pretty impressive thing if you were doing 20%. Going all in on 50% as a commitment. That's amazing.
We originally talked of 100%, and
wow.
We have some really good advisors around us, and they said, that's great, and we love that that's where your heart is, but we want you to be able to attract and retain the best talent possible, and you have to have that incentive. And I think that's good. Like Concrete Rose on the fund side is very much a capitalistic endeavor. We think we can invest in a way that's really impactful by creating access and opportunity in the social capital we talked about, but we also think we can make a lot of money doing it. The more money we make doing it, the more others will flood into the space, and some of these gaps are going to start to close, and we'll find a new way to make money.
Well, it's a big baby, but it's a baby right now, right? You're less than 2 years into this, and you seem to already be helping a lot of people. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years? Where do you see the growth going?
Yeah, I think we're in the very early innings in this opportunity. I think we as a fund are always going to be focused on the earliest stages of entrepreneurship because we think that's where the problem's most acute. I think there are going to be opportunities in later stage companies, and what we really want to do is just continue to build the ecosystem of people that care about the mission. The more help we can offer, the more success we're going to drive. And the more success we drive, the more impact we're going to make.
What would you say to someone who's hearing your story and thinking, wow, I have a business, or I'm thinking of start a business, but I never thought to do it with helping others at the core of it? I mean, is it everything you'd hoped it would be?
It's been pretty incredible. I mean, when I started this, I did not think this was going to be a career. My buddy Sean was doing this, and I said, I can help you with this because it's kind of a world I'm in. So let me help you with it. And, we got maybe 9 months of me doing this kind of nights and weekends with him and building business plans. And he said, I need you to do this with me, right? And I said, okay. At the time I had 2 young kids, now I have 3. I said, if I can pay the bills, I'm in. And it's been amazing. There's so many great people, so many influential Silicon Valley leaders that are all in on what we're doing, and people that no one can get them on the phone will just make time for us and help us, and like everyone just wants to see you succeed, which is different for me.
Yeah, I was curious about the name. Where did Concrete Rose come from?
So it's a reference to a poem credited to Tupac, the rapper. It's really about overcoming adversity. Like if you saw the rose that grew from concrete, like you wouldn't question my damaged petals, right? Like you would celebrate my tenacity and all I've overcome. So it's really, it's exactly what we're seeing in founders, and we couldn't be prouder of the ones we have in our portfolio.
All right, before we wrap up, we have 3 questions we ask everyone. What's the best advice you were ever given?
I think career-wise is just find something you're passionate about and you want to do every day. Like, don't follow the money. Just find something that's interesting.
Very nice. What's your favorite book of all time?
Ooh, favorite. I mean, I'm very much a Christian. I would have to say the Bible, but I don't know. There's a lot of good ones out there. I'm updating my reading list.
Okay, fair enough. We'll take that. Do you have one habit or ritual that you swear by?
I have many. I'm like a man of routine. I do the same thing every day. People laugh at me because I'll like eat the same meal every day, same time every day. But I try to control my mornings. The day can get away from you. Like, get stuff done in the morning.
All right, get stuff done in the morning. If you want to learn more about Concrete Rose Capital, go to concreterosecapital.com. Man, what a cool story. It's amazing what you guys are doing. Thanks for taking some time to share it all with us.
AJ, thank you so much.